Hello everybody, thank you Brian for inviting me to do this. So yes, I'm the director of RIBA North. For those of you that don't know, RIBA North is a national architecture centre that will open on the waterfront in Liverpool. I think what I'm going to talk about today is much less about the programme. I'll touch a little bit on the first exhibition, but much more about the facility and what it includes. So the centre will be a place for everyone to discover more about architecture, but it'll provide a platform also for, well, various platforms really for debate, knowledge exchange and the development of the profession. And I know that those sound like really broad, sweeping comments, but they'll maybe be explained a little bit later in the presentation. It's my intention that RIBA North becomes a really useful and inspirational resource for all of our member and public audiences. And I think that term's really important to me. So it's not a sort of centre of quiet contemplation on ideas around architecture, but that it's useful and that it is a resource and that people use it, they visit regularly, it's beneficial to them. My remit is to deliver the RIBA's national strategic objectives. But what I intend to do through the centre is to do that by responding to local opportunities and context, and that will mean working a lot in partnership with various other organisations in the city and across the north, as well as LJMU, the other university here. This is the building that we've moved into, so we have moved into that now, and it's a little bit more finished than it is at the moment on this image, but the reason I included this image is because it's really easy for me to show you whereabouts we are in the building. So all of this unbuilt bit here, we kind of occupy this half of the building, a little bit on the ground floor and then the whole half on the first floor. So you enter RIBA North on the ground floor in the covered glass area, for those of you that know it, between the two blocks at Man Island, so right next door to the Open Eye Gallery. On the ground floor we have a retail space which is very similar to most museum shops and will sell 4 different areas of products which align with the RIBA's brand values. Also on the ground floor is a cafe concession which will be operated by an external company. It's really on the first floor that all of the activities that we will be delivering will take place. So you'll notice throughout this presentation I haven't included any real images of the space, and I've done that on purpose to be a little bit sneaky so that you'll actually all come and see the centre for yourselves when it opens. So this is the first floor. This is where you would come up from the stairs here and you enter into what we're calling the City Gallery space, which is a really big open area, very flexible spaces which we'll be using for lots of different purposes. So we will use it for exhibitions. We'll also use this area here, which is a mezzanine down to the ground floor, for working with young people, running workshops and those sorts of things, because it's important to me that there's the sound of activity taking place, so that when you're downstairs in the cafe you can hear young people upstairs taking part in workshops, rather than them being siloed off into a room where they're not going to disturb anybody. But the City Gallery also includes, this is the digital city model, which I'll come back to in a moment. Off this main space are 2 flexible exhibition spaces. This one here is Gallery 1. This has museum standard environmental controls, so we can house our superb RIBA collections. So until 2014, the RIBA didn't have a gallery of its own. We had a small space in the V&A where we would do occasional exhibitions, and in 2014 we opened the Architecture Gallery at 66 Portland Place. Gallery 1 at the facility here in Liverpool is around the same footprint as 66 Portland Place, but in my opinion a much better shape, and it is actually slightly bigger. We'll be able to bring our collections up out of London for the very first time. So maybe in response to what you were saying, Brian, we won't be using reproductions. We have the ability to bring our collections up, which is quite important to us. But believe me, my life would be much simpler if we could use reproductions. This is Gallery 2 here. We will use that for exhibitions and displays, but it doesn't have any environmental controls. We'll also use that for a variety of other purposes. It's a seminar space for around 70 people. We are considering using it for private dining in conjunction with the city model. But essentially it's a really flexible space that can be hired by anybody and used at any time. What you can't see on this image is through, I don't know if I'm tall enough, through that door right at the top there is the RIBA offices. And it's a big office facility which houses several of our teams, including my team, the North team, which will operate this centre, the Northwest team, which looks after our Northwest members. It also houses our financial services, Part 3 and CPD. Within that office space we have flexible subtenant rentable desks. About 10 of those have already been let, but the intention is that that will be for small incubator spaces, for start-up firms and other creative businesses. So back to the media city, the city gallery with the digital city model in it. So we have just very recently secured all the funding to deliver the digital city model. The digital city model, some of you may have seen before, there's examples of these all over the world, incredibly amazing ones that would probably fill the whole ground floor of this building in Dubai, down to smaller scale ones. The one that we're having is around, so it's 9 55-inch screens, all joined together. The screen holds a lot of, well, the majority of the digital data that the city holds on Liverpool. That was taken in 2010, and for this project we'll be updating that data and actually gathering more data for the whole of this side and the Wirral side of the river. On top of the digital screens we'll have a physical 3D printed model of the city, and there'll be 2 banks of plasma screens that the table's connected to. This as a tool is actually quite phenomenal, and I think at the moment we don't really understand the full capacity of it. We've got an idea of how we might use it, so we have 3 stakeholders that we're working with: Liverpool City Council, Wirral Borough Council and Peel Wirral Waters. And we have a very particular way which we'll be using the city model with them, but there's also amazing opportunities to do work around social history projects where we can layer historic maps underneath the existing physical model of the city and show how the city has evolved over time, but then with the use of the plasma screens look at how the city might evolve in the future. We can animate infrastructure models around the city, and we're looking at doing a kind of planning ripple effect with the City Council, which is quite an exciting data project that we're working on with them around how the data that comes with planning and through planning applications can be continuously updated, and therefore update the model with kind of open sourcing the digital data on parts of the city. So it's an amazing tool and it's really exciting, but a lot of what we're doing with the city model is kind of professional facing. This is the area that the city model will capture. So this area here was the data that was captured in 2010, and the rest of it, these kind of purpley areas, are definitely what we will be capturing for the city model, and we will hopefully be extending out to the end of the Wirral Waters site up there as well. So like I said, the majority of what we do on the media table is professional facing, but over time the intention is that we can add to it with our public facing activities. So when we have an exhibition which in some way relates to the city, we're able to add different chapters to the table. So I'm just going to come on briefly to the types of activity that we'll be delivering. I won't insult your intelligence by reading out the list to you, but essentially we'll have a core programme of activity which includes 3 programming slots. One of those will be a collection show, the other will be another type of exhibition or commission. I'm kind of open to suggestion about that, but equally it could be that somebody comes and hires that space from us. So RIBA North is a commercial project. It needs to make money to be sustainable. So this is one of our big income streams. And then we will have an architectural, hopefully, an architectural residency each year, which will be an open call. That will be open to anybody, but the group must include an RIBA member. And there'll be lots and lots of different types of activity that support that, but then are also quite separate to that. We're going to work, hopefully, on a kind of annual theme, and all of these activities will be driven by that annual theme that comes out of our strategic review every 4 years. I don't think there's much more I can say about our programme of activity past 2017 at the moment. So what I'd like to do is just tell you a little bit about the first exhibition. So the first exhibition has been in the planning for a very, very, very long time. I think maybe about 5 years now. And there's been, I think probably the people in Liverpool will know, there's been quite a lot of delays to the build itself. So now we're in there, I am absolutely delighted that we're getting to the point where we can actually deliver this exhibition. It's called Liverpool Move a Shaker Architectural Risk Taker. It includes around 36 items from our collection, the majority of which have been specially conserved for this project, and the majority of which have never been seen before in public. We're also acquisitioning a new piece into the collection, so we're bringing the cloud model into the collection, which will be one of the largest models that we have within the RIBA collection. The exhibition itself looks at Liverpool's historic architectural ambition. So its willingness to take risks, work with really young architects, consider really audacious proposals, and how that really shaped the city by kind of doing big international competitions and attracting really significant talent. The items from our collection are all unrealised projects, and that's actually the nature of our collection. If a building is realised, the paraphernalia, the drawings, the models that come along with that don't tend to make it into our collection. So a lot of our collection is actually unrealised, which is interesting in itself, I think. But what I have done as well is commissioned a film, the collection exhibitions, the collection items that are in the exhibition are relatively, I'm just trying to think how to describe this. They're kind of clustered within 4 key sites around the city. Not exclusively, but the majority of them are clustered in 4 key sites. The 2 cathedral sites, the waterfront and the St George's Hall area. So we've also commissioned a film that looks at what was built on those sites. And it poses the question of how might the city evolve in the future if we embrace that architectural ambition that Liverpool had in the past. After the first exhibition, so this is it's a very traditional exhibition. There's lots of faint drawings and cardboard models, and it's a very public-facing exhibition. And it's about Liverpool. It's firmly rooted in Liverpool. The second exhibition that we're looking at is an exhibition with one of our members. It's the result of a 4-year research project, and will be installed in a very, very different way. It'll kind of be quite installation-based, but it is also a viable architectural product. And I think at the moment that's all I'm going to say about it. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.